Hello, guys. So, I think people are going to ask about this game. Can you survive in every course in Mario Kart World as well? I think, of course, in the entire Mario Kart world, you can survive because you can just find a urban area. There's fresh water everywhere. There's trees everywhere as well here. But can you survive in, you know, Mario Kart World? So Mario Kart World is, of course, the new Mario Kart game that came out this year, and we'll be going. Can you go to? No, that's we're not doing that. You know an option you can go to move to any of the courses. Okay, I figured it out. So first course we'll be going to is Pete's Stadium. Since we're doing free roam, there won't be like any obstacles or anything. And so can you survive in Pete's Stadium? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, but you won't be driving in a car. So we'll be going over the whole area here. Yeah, there's a bunch of trees you can fasten into like a sharp knife or stick or something. But one thing I noticed there is some water, a giant lake down here. So I think water we're pretty fine on as well. Celta, you have really an entire stadium. Food, however, might be a big problem as well. But considering the fact that yeah. But now we gotta find if there are any signs of food. Maybe you can get food off the course or something. But but here's the thing. There are actual like gas stations, I think, in Mario Kart World. Yeah. The problem is you'd have to avoid the road, which is usually busy. Can you eat Yosis? But there's also food vendors here, but they can really buy food, but you need to have coins as well. But there's also these magical boxes you can get that give you food automatically as well. So yeah. So there is a way to get food. You have to just sneak behind the vendors and maybe steal food as well. But this looks like a little like city or something. They can probably use like there's like little transportation, but you're not allowed to leave the course. You have to use any resources inside the course, and I don't think it's very advised for you. Yeah, you'll basically be bumming it in this entire course. Sorry to inform you, you'll be bumming it here. It's survivable, but you'll be fighting the rats over the trash or something like that as well. Okay, since there isn't really much food here. But there are vending machines that does throw food at you as well. Yeah. So that's also an option as well. Next course will be investigating the Koopa Troopa Beats, and they are performing a pretty big party here. Is there any sort of food here? Yeah, yeah. Well, there should be like fish, like seeps or something as well here. There's also for some reason, a gas station in the middle of nowhere. There's also birds you can eat if you fasten a spear or something. So kind of like a Mario Luigi Bros. If there's birds, but I don't think the birds would be a long shot. But of course, there's all this ocean around here. Um, you'd have to find a way to desalinate the water, but you know, yeah, but it's manageable. It's a beach. You can also probably eat like crustaceans and stuff that wash up the shore, assuming it functions like a real beach as well. Also, I think there's cataracts somewhere on like the course here. But there's also this little area here that provides you food. I don't know if the food is free or not, but of course you can always steal the food from these magical things as well. Shelter, you have this little like rocky area here you can hide in as well. I'm not gonna consider threats here. Um yeah, but yeah. Yeah, next is DK Spaceport. Do I need to explain why you're not gonna survive DK Spaceport? It's literally like trying to survive in Area 51. Okay, let me explain to you why you're not gonna survive DK Spaceport. Yeah, there's a giant monkey here. This is the course of the giant monkey. I think in free roam they get rid of the monkey so you can play free roam. But there's a little giant ape that throws barrels at you. I think at least in Koopa Troopa Beats there's at least like fish and stuff you can eat, but there's no food, there's no real source of water. And there's a giant ape really trying to kill you. So robotic ape trying to kill you. Then we have a Little Top Summit as well here. So is Little Top Summit survivable as well? It looks like it's a little town as well. You have food vendors here. You have buildings potentially you can go in as well here. It seems like a bustling railroad town. So I think this place is pretty survivable. There's tons of there's tons of water down here, but you'll be able to get down there pretty easily. There's vendors that really sell food. There's probably restaurants too. It's a little train station, so there's probably ways you can get food here as well. But it is probably still ill-advised to be in the middle of the road as well. But I think this is looks like a pretty decent town to live in. You can get a job, you can pay rent even to live there. Yeah, but I think this is a pretty decent place to live in, all things considered. A bunch of food vendors that give out free food, but even if you have to pay for it, well, guess what? You can still probably find a job here and probably rent out a place here. Or you can just eat out the garbage cans and fight the rats and goombas that populate the area. Next is Desert Hills, and is Desert Hills any survivable? Already you see a bunch of freshwater here. I think there's also animals here too you can kill as well. Like there's like elephants and stuff, but it's not really advised to fight an elephant. As well, like elephants and zebras and stuff. There's also Yossi too, but I don't think you would want to eat Yossi. Yeah, there's camels, a few camels, a few elephants, as well. Yeah. Also, those piranha plants, and piranha plants have those juicy tongues as well. Okay, this is a fire piranha plant, so that one probably isn't very advised to fight that one. As well, so yeah, actually all the state heads are still here. As well, you have the camels, you have elephants. I think there's elephant. I think one of them has elephants as well. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a few food vendors, and there's of course even places you can get stayed in. So overall, you will be homeless, but you will be able to eke out a living for a while. There's camels. I don't think the camels respawn infinitely, but considering there's only a few amount of them as well. Okay, maybe you can eat berries from these bushes if they sprout fruit. Um, and of course, there's the vendors, but I don't think you have any money, so that will kind of be a struggle. Then there's the piranha plants that probably if we come out of the pipe. So if you really are struggling for food, you can eat the piranha plants' tongues for food. Yeah, I'm sounding pretty weird, but that's just survival. You know as well. Then we have Mario Bros Circuit. We'll get to Crown City in a moment. Yeah. So what is there to be found here? So there's food vendors. There's a diner that you can eat at as well here. Um, there's a bunch of fresh water. There's no abundance of rakes here. There's a big rake here as well. So that's probably isn't an issue, all things considered. As well here, I'm sorry you can find a job here or something, but I don't really see any housing. Here's the restaurant. There's a truck, tire stop. There's a food vendor, and there's a gas station. I'm sure you can probably work at the gas station or at least somewhere. But the problem is, where would you live? There's no housing here. There's no, housing here. Maybe you can live in the cardboard crates. No, not cardboard crates. You can live in the cargo containers, but as well. But you'll kind of be homeless, as there's no real housing here, as well. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't. The city plan didn't really plan this thing out. There's no real housing, as well. You'll kind of be bumming it. You'll kind of be homeless, as well. Yeah. Then we have we'll get to Clown City then. This is a little city. I think you can probably survive in a city if you can. Millions. There's commute. There's you can probably get jobs here. Probably buy food, rent out an apartment. Typical city stuff. So that's a pretty easy. So so far Desert Hills that you can survive for a little bit. Marble Circuit, you'll be bumming it. Whistle Top Summit, you can probably make a decent living here. You ain't surviving these two places. There isn't really much here. There's some few vendors, but I think you have to pay to get those foods here. But then we're gonna go to Saigai Bazaar next. Here, Saigai Bazaar. Obviously, I love that. I love that course. It's pretty unique. There's elephants here, but I don't think the Psy guys will be too happy about you killing the elephants here as well. But however, there's a whole entire market here. There's like a whole entire city here. Like, like I'm sorry you can probably live here. As well as a castle here. There's a fresh water. There's a whole entire market here. Like a whole entire housing market. If you can get along with Psy guys, that is. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent place to live, all things considered. You have a bunch of vendors. You have, housing if you're royal, but I don't know. I don't think there's any peasant housing. The probably is, it's probably kind of like slum housing. Not really the best of places, but hey, at least you'll have a home. Unlike, the last, location we covered that wasn't a city. So it's kind of like a pretty bustling town that you'll be able to live in pretty easily. You'll probably be able to set up your own shop here. Just be wary of any races coming through, because for some reason, the poor Psy guys have their place, basically hit by races every day. But it seems like a pretty decent place to live, as there's a bunch of Psy guys selling things. So I'm sure you can probably open your own business here. Probably isn't that difficult. You have to just find a non-empty vendor. And we have Wario Stadium. Can you survive in Wario Stadium? Yeah, we're not gonna be doing like a Mario Luigi Bros. If this is just for fun, obviously. Yeah, I don't think you would be able to survive in a demolition derby. Okay, um, doesn't look like there's any water or food. Okay, as well. So I don't think you'll survive in here. I think you'll probably just want to leave right away. There's no food, no water, and nothing. Yeah, and we have Airship Fortress. Can you survive in Airship Fortress? No, you're literally up in the sky. And most there's food and water inside the Airship Fortress, but you literally have ball bills shooting after you as well. Yeah, you do have rocky lenses that would spawn here. I don't think they spawn in free roam, but they are a pretty decent source of protein. Um, but the thing is, there's still no water on Airship Fortress. There's lava, but I don't think you and I can drink lava. So it's lava is not a water source. Okay, as well. Okay, and I don't think you can survive this either. Yeah, you're not surviving here. Okay, you're not surviving here. Then we have Toad's Factory, everyone's favorite course for some reason. But can you survive in Toad's Factory? Most likely they'll kick you out. Okay, but you do have a food vendor for some reason here. Yeah, talk about marketplace presence. You know, there is fresh water here, loads of it, but unless you are a working here, I don't really think there is much food. Um, Maybe the occasional bird or fish in the water, but not really any food. And of course, I know I played this course many times. There isn't really much food here. Um, it's a literal factory, so you won't be really surviving here. Then we have dry bones burnout. It's a place full of skeletons. Dry bones is not an edible creature here. As well, there's a food vendor like right outside the course, but I don't really think you're surviving here. Also, there's a lot of lava here as well, and I think you're just burn alive from the heat alone. So, next course we have Bowser's Castle. Is Bowser's Castle any better? No, it isn't. So far, one, two, three, four, five, six of like the half of the courses out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. 6 out of the 14 courses are completely unlivable as well. But we did cover this half. But what about the other half? We'll be going over the middle courses now, and the first one is Acorn Heights. Can you live in Acorn Heights? Is Acorn Heights a livable place? Here. Already, there's homes here if you want to steal a Toad's home, but there are literal like doors here too. So yeah. But is there any water? There's food. There's a vendor that can probably sell drinks and food to you, but I think that's mostly for people in the you ain't surviving this. I know this is Mario Kart, but I don't think you're gonna survive a 100-foot drop to the ground as well. But we go down here, there is plenty of water, and of course sting bees and other types of animals that live here. And fruits even, but I just don't think you're surviving the fall. So you also have these bugs here that will be a pretty good source of protein. You have fish probably too, but I don't think you're surviving that fall. So good luck, another unwinnable course. Mario Circuit. Can you survive in Mario Circuit? Yeah. Let's go see what's in Mario Circuit. It doesn't look like there's any food or water here. I'm looking at the mini map, and the whole circuit is no food, no water. Um, you can probably bum it out in the breezes, but you'll slowly starve to death and slowly die of dehydration as well here. Yeah, not a very livable place, all things considered. We have movable meadows. While there are little cows and chickens and farm animals here, um, I think movable meadows is playable. You have a bunch of cows you can eat, you know, as well. And I'm so considering as a farm, they probably have tons and tons of them. So they probably breed them very regularly as well here. Yeah. There's also a fishing area, which means there's probably fish in this river that are probably stocked regularly as well. You can also live in the barn as well. You just have to make sure you do not come back when the owner appears or Nabbit appears. But overall, it seems like a pretty decent place to live in as well. You also have hay, which can be made into some type of bread as well here. Yeah, even though that's really meant to feed the cows, but you can use hay and turn it into a bread of some type as well here. I won that from Minecraft. Hay is made of wheat. There's also a food vendor, but you are living in pretty large in Boo Boo Meadows. I'm not gonna lie now. You are living in pretty large in Boo Boo Meadows. And we're gonna go to Down Down Jungle. Can you survive in Down Down Jungle? Here, there are food vendors. I also think you can find piranha plant. There's piranha plants, of course, but I don't think it killing any of the dinosaurs. There's also giant sequoia trees. I think that's what those trees are called. As well, giant like redwoods and cycads and stuff as well here. It kind of makes you feel small and insignificant, honestly. But you also have all the dinos in the jungle as well. But unless we're going the wrong way, but I think we're going the wrong way. We're going not on the course. Yeah, but yeah, here's Dino Down Jungle. Yeah, and there aren't very many dinos either. So even if you kill them, you don't really like. There's a lot of meat on them, but I don't think Okay, yeah. So in the Dino Down Jungle, let's see how big the dinos are. There's also eggs you can eat, giant eggs, but that means there is a breeding stable population. That was you have water, but this is you compared to the giant sauropod. Yeah, you're tiny compared to the giant sauropod. That's probably basking in the lake to rest or something. Yeah, there's giant pterosaurs. That'll probably eat you. Yeah, you're probably not surviving here. There's also a giant T Rex here as well. That'll probably eat you. Not a very survivable place, all things considered. Great Crescent Block ruins. Here, there's only a decent amount of piranha plants that can eat their tongues as well. I count like 5 or 6 piranha plants, which could probably last you a couple weeks of food. But the thing is, there is a waterfall, but you ain't going over here. Unless you're gonna make the leap of faith. You're just stuck with these 6 piranha plants before you die of dehydration. Basically. Yeah. You're gonna be dead of dehydration before. Unless you can go back here. Let's see if there's anything back here. Nope, nothing back here. You ain't surviving. Yeah. So Great Crescent Block ruins, you'll probably survive for like a couple days at max. Then we have Faraway Oasis. This is the map of all the safari animals. This is I think the one I was thinking of. You do have a decent water source here, and there is a decent ton of game animals, so zebras, wildebeest. I don't think there's wildebeest, but elephants, giraffes. There's also a few like 5 or 6 bats you can eat too, as well. You also have buffalo with a decent source of protein as well here. And there's probably many types of buffalo. They can also probably, and also you can probably breed them as well and rise up the numbers so you can eat them. Kind of like how they do in the good dinosaur. You also have ostriches as well, elephants, zebra. You have tons and tons of food sources. There isn't really much for shelter besides under these trees, obviously, but there is tons of game animals here they can hunt and kill as well. And also you can probably sleep underneath, a tree or something, or you can live on a boat or something. Yeah, there's boats here. But actually there's shelter over here. Like at the beginning of the course. So actually this is a pretty decent place to live. You're bumming it, kind of, but there's tons of food, tons of water, so this is probably one of the most livable places out there. And of course, you have Pete's Beats. Here's a question: can you eat cataclacks? Those are kind of the only. I know there's a few cheap cheaps on the course. I'm assuming that cheap cheaps come every once in a while. There's also mushrooms as well. Yeah, but there's a beats one course, so there isn't really any decent options for fresh water. But the thing is, can you eat these things? I'm sure you can probably prolong the suffering as well, but there's only like 2 or 3 cataclacks on the entire beats. Okay, you ain't gonna be gaining a lot. You go slow is fastly deplete the food supply, your food supply, as well. You also have birds that you can kill and eat. The problem is there's no fresh water since it's a beats. But here's the thing about this here. If you're just surviving on the beach, well, you're kind of screwed. But there's a whole entire ass town they added to this map as well. Yeah, they added a whole entire town with restaurants and stuff as well here. Here. And we're gonna check that portion. Also, there's fresh water right here, so you'll be able to survive. Water is fine. There's also birds you can kill as well. But if it was just the GameCube version, yeah, you'd probably die. Because there's only so many birds you can eat before they start disappearing. But yeah, there's a whole ass town here. They introduced a whole ass town here. Yeah, I think you can survive pretty well on Pete's Beats. A whole ass resort town as well. Here, you can get a job or something. You can rent out a place to live. So it'll just be like living in any other city. So this and Crown City are probably some of the most rural places so far. It's kind of an S tier. A salty speedway. This is another town, so a very easy to survive place. Minimal threats, tons of shelter, probably tons of restaurants as well to eat, water, stores, literally just a town as well. So yeah. Then we have Cheap Cheap Falls. There are Cheap Cheaps in the waterfalls. You can eat them and get cooked fish as well. So that's a pretty. And there's also shelter and the temples as well. Yeah, and considering it's a waterfall, there is water here. So I think this place is actually quite survivable. You have to just keep the Cheap Cheap population up as well, or keep the Cheap Cheap population up. And I think you'll be living pretty large in Mario Kart World and gain the Cheap Cheap population up pretty high as well, considering that Cheap Cheaps live here as well here. But I think there's a decent number of them. There's a pretty decent sized river. I think they removed the Cheap Cheaps, on this course for free roam, obviously, but although they're still here, there's a one or two cheap. There's a few Cheap Cheaps as well, but there's probably a decent chunk underneath the water we just can't see as well here, as well. Also, there's boats as well they can probably sleep on as well. So it's actually a pretty nice place, and it looks pretty beautiful as well. Tons of water, a bunch of cheap sheep you can eat. So we have Wario Cypriot. We have to talk about Wario Cypriot, don't we? Yeah. Uh, First of all, you're gonna die of dehydration because it's a salt water. Unless you can find a way to desalinate the water, yeah. There's probably also fish you can get too. So I think it is pretty possible to live here, but there isn't really much shelter. It's mostly a sunken a shipyard that's about to sink, a shipyard that's probably gonna sink in the near future. So not a very decent place to live. And of course, we're gonna go over the last non-2 areas in the cold area. We have Dandelion Depths, which is kind of a quarry-esque place as well here. So let's see if there's any food or water here. So you start here, and yeah, we're gonna start. We're assuming we're starting the same place you start in the Mario Kart game as well here. So you have to take a pretty big trek down here. Make sure you do not fall off. But yeah. But it seems that this place is actually pretty decent. Yeah, it's a pretty big cave. There is a ramp here, but it's pretty doable for a normal human. You have tons of water here. You have food, which is the pity buds. They fly around the air as well here. Also, I think there's likely fish in this water too, so there'll be easy food here. And it's just a nice, decent cave area to live in. So, shelter is sorted out with the cave. So, you would have to, make like a bed out of the dandelions because there's no trees. Also, there's mushrooms here, and I'm assuming that the same type of mud you can eat them. So, there's actually a decent portion of food here you can eat as well here. You're probably living on the sides or something, or living in, there. Probably not a very comfortable place, but it's very doable. You can survive here. So then we have Boo Cinema. Can you survive in Boo Cinema? Here. So out in the courtyard there is water here and a few bats you can eat as well here. So you can probably go down. But this is basically a haunted cinema. Yeah. But I don't think this is a good place to live. Yes, it is good shelter, but there's a bunch of ghosts here that will probably want to mess with you. So not a very decent place to live. And then we have the cold areas as well. Shelter is gonna be very, very important in these two areas, as first is DK Pass. Can you survive in DK Pass? Yeah. Yeah, so it just looks like your standard alpine path. There's no real places to sleep. No, there's not really, and also you could probably die of hypothermia. There's tons of water. The water can be easily be done by this constant snowfall this area receives. So water isn't really a huge problem. Food might be a problem, or it could be a problem as there isn't really anything here. But you're gonna probably die of hypothermia. Oh, actually, there's a sack here you can live in, but it's occupied by a Yoshi. So you'll probably have to kick out the Yoshi. But there are a few places you can live, feel likely live to survive, but there isn't really much food here. So then we have Starview Peak. Oh yeah, and about Rainbow World, you're not surviving Rainbow World. Starview Peak, it's a giant observatory. There's also a decent chunk of water, but is there any food here as well here? I completely pissed off these toads, but it looks like a big library, so you can probably get employed and probably be able, and there's also vendors in this library too. So you can probably get a job in this huge library place as well here. And probably to get food and stuff as well here. And also there is water here. You can just heat up the snow and get water that way. Food, there's vendors literally in the place. You could probably find a job somewhere here, like be like maybe moving around the books or something, or something like that. And I think it's a place out of survivable place. The last place, but not least, did we cover every place? Oh, I don't think we covered Taco Mountain. Let's cover Taco Mountain first. We haven't covered Taco Mountain. That is a major oopsie from us. Can you survive in Taco Mountain? Water already. Oh wait, that's not water. That's muck. You can't really survive there. That's the muck. So there's no real source of fresh water. It's oil. Oil is not drinkable. Um, Oil is not edible. There are power plants for food, so food is covered, but I don't see any sources of water here. Unless you want to consider muck edible, but I don't think there's any real sources of fresh water on Taco Mountain. Actually, it's swamp water, but I don't really think swamp water is the most safe water to drink. You'll probably get sick from it, so I don't think Taco Mountain is very survivable. But let's go through the whole course first. Oh, looks like there is some. Alright, that's the oil, the muck. There are a bunch of power plants you can eat, but there's really no point. There's no source of water at all. Let's go through the course. Yeah, I just yeah, it's mostly muck. I think. I don't see any signs of fresh water anywhere. Okay, consumable fresh water as well. Okay, like it seems that all the water here is just dirty and polluted. Which of course is not good for you as a human. There are power plants you can eat, but there's nothing to drink, then you're dead in 72 hours. So and now the last but not least course. Let's see if there's any courses we missed. Sky High Sunday. And just for FYI, you ain't surviving Rainbow Road. You're not even gonna breathe. So Sky High Sunday is survivable. You ain't surviving that. It looks like all the food here is edible, but you ain't surviving that yeah, as well. But Sky High Sunday, if you're propped in a different part of Sky High Sunday, well, you'd be probably able to have a much, much better life than, yeah. But there is, of course, tons of food. The entire course is made out of food as well. So, overall, I think, if you weren't stuck here, you'll be able to get food and water from the course itself. But the problem is, I don't know if the legality of eating off of Sky High Sunday is, but as well, but what about down here? This is the down part of Sky High Sunday, but yeah, you ain't really going past that for today. So Sky High Sunday is unfortunately unsurvivable. Yeah, considering the fact that you will be stuck up there. And there you go. That's if you can survive in Mario Kart World. A decent portion of the courses are actually survivable, but a lot of some of these courses are just too unrealistic to survive. Like Boo's Cinema, and of course the Bowser courses, Wario Shipyard, and of course Taco Mountain, which is just full of muck and polluted water that you cannot drink. So yeah, goodbye.